So listen carefully. This story was told to me by my grandson Maxim, himself in his own words. At first I did not believe him, thought he was making it up. But when I looked into his eye, I understood. It was the truth. Maxim was a blogger. He filmed horror content. And then one night, he stumbled across a single post on a forum. There was only one message on that forum. No username, no date, just a warning. Max laughed. Perfect content, he said. The hospital was closed in 1987. That something happened there that cannot be explained, after which the entire staff quit on the same day. His friend refused to go. Max laughed and called him a coward, said he'd go alone, no big deal. That was his first mistake. The asylum sat on the edge of town, massive, dark, overgrown. Max said the moment he arrived, he felt something was wrong, but the camera was already rolling. He smiled at the camera at the gates. "Hey subscribers, today we visit the most terrifying place in the city." He was smiling. He didn't know it would be his last video. The building was enormous, windows like empty eye sockets, walls cracked, dead vines crawling up like reaching hands. Even from outside, it felt like the building was watching you. He squeezed through the fence. First step inside. He said the ground felt soft beneath his feet, like something was under it. He tried not to think about that. The entrance door was unlocked, just standing open, waiting. Max pushed it, and it opened without a sound. For some reason, that frightened him most of all. The corridor stretched into blackness, long, endless, rusty bars on windows, old wheelchairs along the walls, and at the very far end, something flickered, faint, barely there. Max walked and filmed, made jokes, laughed, but his voice was different now, and his breath was visible, white mist and cold air, even though it was summer outside. In one room, he found a bed, rusty, with leather restraint straps still buckled, as if someone had just stood up and walked away, leaving them buckled. He was talking to the camera, but on that recording, behind his back, in the dark corridor, something was moving. He couldn't see it, the camera could. Max found the nurse's station, papers scattered, glass broken, a calendar on the wall, October 1987, and the phone receiver hanging off the hook, never put back. In the corner, he found a book, thick, hardcover, the patient register. He began leafing through it, names, dates, diagnoses, and then he stopped. Last entry, October 31st, 1987. Patient name clearly written, Maxim. Max said he laughed, tried to laugh. Just a coincidence, he told himself. But his hands were already shaking, and he started backing away from the shelf. On the staircase, he saw footprints, wet, fresh, leading upstairs. Max was certain they weren't there when he entered. He would have noticed. He always noticed. He followed them anyway, says he doesn't know why. His feet just carried him up to the second floor, and there he stopped and stood for a long time. The entire second floor corridor, wall to wall, floor to ceiling, was covered in drawings, identical, a figure holding a camera, over and over. Max brought the flashlight closer. Every single drawing identical, down to the smallest detail. Then he heard it, quiet, from the darkness at the end of the corridor. A voice counting, 1, 2, 3. He aimed the flashlight at the darkness. Nothing, nobody, only shadows moving strangely at the edges of the beam. Then the voice stopped. The treatment room. Overturned metal chair in the center, rusty instruments, broken glass vials, dark stains on the walls, and a bare bulb hanging from the ceiling. Not lit, just hanging. Max swept the camera around the room. Suddenly, the bulb above him flared on by itself. Harsh light, hard shadows. Max stumbled backward and nearly fell. One room had a mirror, large, cracked. Max stood before it, looked at his reflection, and realized something was wrong. The reflection was moving incorrectly. He raised his hand. The reflection raised its hand a fraction too late. Max stepped back. The reflection stayed standing and smiled. The the mirror shattered by itself. Max screamed, jumped back, shards everywhere. Silence. Then the flashlight began to flicker. In the corner sat an old radio. Max hadn't even noticed it. Then suddenly it crackled on by itself. Static, and through the static a voice. Quiet, clear. The radio said, "Patient 47, treatment is not complete. You cannot leave." Max couldn't move, the camera shaking so badly the footage was completely blurred. He hurled the radio to the floor, smashed it. Silence, complete silence. And Max ran toward the exit, fast. He ran down the corridor, then noticed the wall drawings. All the camera figures were now facing him, every single one turned toward him. They hadn't been before. He grabbed the entrance door handle, pulled, locked, pulled again, wouldn't open. He clearly remembered entering through this door. It had been open. Nobody had locked it. He pressed his back against the door, breathing hard, staring into the dark corridor, and understood he was not alone. Something was there, in the darkness, watching him. At the end of the corridor, a figure appeared, tall, pale, white medical coat, standing completely still, face in shadow, just standing and watching. Max pressed against the wall, flashlight on the figure. His voice broke. "Who are you? What do you want?" Then it spoke, quiet as dry leaves rustling. It said, "You came to us yourself. They all come themselves," and took one slow step forward. Max ran the other direction, right, left, through every corridor, and at the end of each one, the figure stood waiting, as if it was everywhere at once. One room had a boarded window. Max tore at the boards with bare hands until his fingers bled. The boards gave way. Night air rushed in from outside. He fell through the window, hit the ground, got up, ran across the courtyard, didn't look back. He said he was afraid of what he'd see standing right behind him. The car, the keys, his hands wouldn't work. Keys dropped. He picked them up, got in, started the engine, and drove. He raced down the night road, knuckles white on the wheel, only one thought in his head: get away. As far as possible, as fast as possible. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he glanced at the rearview mirror, and there, in the back seat, sat the figure in the white coat, watching him. He hadn't turned yet, hadn't understood yet. Max looked in the mirror, saw it, screamed, wrenched the wheel, looked back. Empty seat. The car nearly flew into the ditch. He barely kept control. He pulled over, head on the steering wheel, breathing, camera on the dashboard still recording, and inside the car his breath was misting. White, even though the heater was on full. He made it home just before dawn, stumbled through the door, sat on the floor against it, says he couldn't stand up, just sat there, in the dark, camera still in his hands. In the morning, he opened the laptop to watch the footage, poured coffee, didn't drink it, watched, frame by frame, and at the 18th minute, he stopped. On the footage, Max walks alone down the corridor, flashlight ahead, but at the edge of the beam, a second shadow beside his, walking in step. It had been there the whole time. He rewound to the beginning. The shadow was there from the very first minute. The entire time through the asylum, someone walked beside him, invisible to the eye, only visible on camera. Max slammed the laptop shut, knocked over his chair, then stopped in the middle of the room, because the far corner of the room was cold, much colder than the rest. That night, he slept with the lights on, camera on the nightstand. He didn't know the camera switched itself on at 3 in the morning and began recording. On the night footage, Max is sleeping, and beside the bed stands a figure, white coat, just standing and watching him all night long, not moving, just watching. In the morning, he saw the red recording light on the camera, watched the footage. His face went white, whiter than the wall. He told me later, that was the most terrifying moment, not the asylum. Home. He called his friend screaming. It followed me home. It stood beside my bed. His friend said, "Calm down, you were dreaming." But Max already knew this was not a dream. During the day, the apartment was bright, sunny, normal outside, but his breath was still misting white in a warm apartment on a summer day, like standing inside a freezer. He started packing fast, documents, clothes, money, grabbed his bag, walked to the door, then turned around. He doesn't know why, and saw the wall. Words scratched deep into the plaster. carved with something sharp. Patient 47. Treatment continues. He ran outside into the street. Sunshine, people walking, cars driving, everything normal. Only he stood on the pavement shaking, and nobody around him understood why. At his friend's place, he played the footage. His friend watched in silence, then said, "Max, someone is genuinely walking beside you. That is not a shadow. I don't know what that is." And they both went silent. He deleted his channel that same day. Thousands of subscribers, hundreds of videos, hit delete and never looked back. Said he would never pick up a camera again. He smashed the camera on the pavement, stomped on it until nothing was left, then saw it in the wreckage. The red recording light, still blinking, still recording. He left the city 3 days later, didn't tell anyone where, just left. Said goodbye by phone. His voice was quiet, calm. That calmness was the most frightening thing of all. I went quiet then, sat for a long time, thinking about it, drinking my tea, already cold, and thinking, maybe he made it up. Maybe a nervous breakdown. But then I remembered his eyes when he told me this story. He called me 3 months later, from an unknown number, from some small town somewhere. His voice had changed, quiet, careful. He says, "Grandpa, it is still here. Sometimes I see it in reflections, in windows, in shop fronts. You know, some places hold on to people, will not let them go. Too much pain was left there. Too many broken people. And that pain, it is alive. It waits. It waits patiently for new visitors." Good night. God keep you safe. And do not look into the dark corners of your room before you sleep. You never know what might be standing there, watching you while you sleep.